The EA Sports college football video game is coming out. It is the biggest story in the space. Now, you either care about it or you don't. However, even if you don't care about it, do I have news for you on this piece of paper in front of me? So I understand marketing. Trust me. No one in this conversation understands the power of solid marketing more than me. So EA Sports is re-releasing the college football game, and they've been chumming the water a little bit. Here's a graphic. Here's a clip of gameplay. Here's this. Here's a player rating. Oh, it's been great. It's been a summer of love so far. But I knew it couldn't last. And yet I'm taking the bait. They released several things this week. And frankly, I've got a beef with all of them. And so love our friends over at EA, but my goodness. First off, let's talk about this toughest places to play list. And mind you, the lists that they're releasing are synonymous with the settings in the video game. Toughest places to play. They pumped out a top 10 list. Kyle Field, Texas A&M, number 1. I had A&M in my top 8 of loudest stadiums, so it's not like I have a huge problem with that. Bama has no business being at number 2. Ohio State has no business being at number 4. I think Georgia's a touch high at number 5. These are places where they win all the time, especially Bama and Ohio State. I didn't have either one in my top 8 of loudest venues, and maybe I'm just defining it differently than the folks at EA. When you say toughest places to play, though, in fairness, that doesn't have everything to do with atmosphere. You'll notice a lot of these teams have just been really good for a long time. It would be tough to play Bama in the past 15 years in a parking lot. So I don't know that this is the best reflection of Bryant-Denny Stadium. Bryant-Denny Stadium is a great venue. It is certainly a top 12 type venue for me. But number 2, I don't think, ahead of LSU, I don't think so. And yet it is for EA Sports. Also, I've never been to Oklahoma, the stadium. I've been to the state many times. I had some Oklahoma folks privately reach out to me and say, hey, we appreciate this, but we probably shouldn't be ahead of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the Swamp. We probably shouldn't be ahead of them. And admittedly, blindly, I have to agree with that. I've never been to Oklahoma. Wisconsin's on here at number 7. Haven't been there. That could change. Early this year, that could change. But to this point, I've just got to go an educated guess and say they may be a little too high. Neyland Stadium's not in the top 10. Crazy. Jordan-Hare Stadium's not in the top 10. Crazy. I think Washington wasn't even in their top 25, Jesse, isn't that right? Which I think qualifies more as just a typo than an omission. Oregon, I don't think was in there either. So, look, if you're talking about toughest places to play and you're factoring in like winning percentage of the teams that play there over the past few years, okay, be that as it may, if you're talking about loudest, I've been to all these places, sans a couple of them. Wrong. This is just a factually wrong list. It got worse. Paper pop. It got worse. Offensive rankings were released today. Yes, friends, the top 10 offensive teams in the country, as baked into this video game, were released today. I have filed multiple protests, proti, the plural of protest, about these ratings, and one of them is Colorado is ranked number 8. Clemson is ranked number 10. These teams finished last year 60th and 52nd, respectively, in points per game. I'm not saying they may not improve. I'm not even saying they may not be significantly better. But to crank up the season 8th and 10th ahead of Ole Miss? What? Look, I got a sister. Doesn't watch a whole lot of college football. Spends a lot of time on the internet, but doesn't watch a lot of college football. But if I sent her this list, she would lick that index finger, have to flip for 3 or 4 seconds and say, whoa, Ole Miss looks a little low. Ooh, Colorado all the way up here at number 8. What? That's her talking. So if this is talent-based, which I have to assume it is, yeah, I get that Clemson has recruited well, and Colorado has Shador at quarterback, Travis Hunter. If that's the way you're thinking, okay, and maybe I'm overthinking the room, but I don't think I am. I really don't think I am. And I would argue it got even worse than that. Here we go. Double paper pop on the defensive rankings that were listed. Again, multiple protests, proti in the plural, have been filed here. We are bordering on Deion tax territory. I've just got to be real with you. Remember what the Dion tax is. The Dion tax is in exchange for having a celebrity as the head coach at Colorado last year, which we all love. Well, I did. We had to accept that there were some opinions that were going to come into the room that weren't really all that informed. But the folks at EA Sports shouldn't be that. And yet, I'm looking at Colorado. They were rated 20th, Jesse? The Colorado Buffaloes. Do you hear me? 20th best defense in the country to start the season. And how about this? USC could not stop molasses in December defensively last year. And they're ahead of Kansas State, Louisville, Auburn, A&M. USC is in the top 20 defensively in the preseason. If they're anywhere close to right, you can go ahead and give D'Anton Lynn all of the assistant coaching awards you possibly can, because that will be like a New Testament level miracle that has been performed out in Los Angeles. If they're anywhere remotely close to the top 20 defensively. And then we got Nebraska not even in the top 25. There are not probably 10 I'd pick above Nebraska. And the thing about it is, we're not banking on quantum leaps of improvement with Nebraska. They were 13th in the country last year in points per game allowed. Total yards per game, 11th. Great staff. They kept it intact. And Nebraska's looking around saying, did you forget us? I mean, Tennessee, folks in Knoxville have every reason to gripe. And Tennessee wasn't even in the top 25 offensively. Like, what are we doing? So producer Jesse promises me that there will be an update to these ratings. There will be at least one update before the season starts. But the game comes out in a little over 20 days. So we got some things to iron out here. But they are very capable over at EA Sports, and I think they will. But this raised both of my eyebrows, and a third would have been raised if I had the capacity. So some of that makes no sense to me.